All right, thanks for staying with us. The proliferation of small arms and light weapons has driven the rise in violence in Nigeria. This violence has led to mass displacement and has resulted in Nigeria having a number of internally displaced people that rivals countries that are officially at war. Now, over the course of a year between May 2019 and April 2020, SBM Intelligence, with support from the Open Society Initiative for West Africa, conducted a study into the proliferation of small arms in Nigeria and the links this proliferation has with mass atrocities and mass migration. Sadly, an increase in banditry, kidnap for ransom, and other forms of criminality, which bedevil the state, will affect business activities in many parts of the state. In many farming communities across the state, for instance, locals no longer go to the farm due to fear of bandits. These are people who cultivate crop and other food items that the city dwellers relied on. They also produce certain raw materials needed for continued survival of local industries such as edible oil, refineries, bakery, animal feed production firms, etc. As long as these farmers keep away from their farms for the fear of their lives, the local production of food and these raw materials would be affected, and the resultant effect will be an unprecedented increase in price of food and other human necessities in the market. So we are asking tonight, what impact, right, does the insecurity in Kaduna State have on its economy, right? Please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation, send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-8663. Tweet at us at WaveShowAfrica1 with the hashtag WaveShow. I'm going to bring in our guest in a minute, but I just want to hear your thoughts, Manny. So I grew up in Kaduna State, right? And I can tell you for free that, you know, Kaduna is no longer the Kaduna State that I know and I grew up in. It had so much, you know, we were the home of textiles, we had different textile companies, we had the different brewery companies, there was NNPC, so many things were functioning. Yeah. So, and again, because Kaduna had a history of violence, you know, we used to call them the riots, the Sharia riots, Sharia crisis and all of that. Okay. You know, I know how many people left, you know, when those Sharia crisis was really bad, that people had to leave. So now I cannot even imagine what is going on with this level of attacks almost like every day. People are afraid to go to the airport. I remember anytime we travel, my mom would have to send somebody with my dad to go to the airport because like it's even scared because you can't even drive. Yes, because even on the road to the airport, we've heard of cases of kidnap, you know, and attacks and all of that. So I don't know how the economy is even doing. I have no idea, you know, who is there anymore. But let me hear your thoughts.
Okay, for me, if we want to look at Kaduna, we'll have to look at Nigeria in general. So the insecurity level in Nigeria is very much alarming. So we know that, yes, Nigeria is very much insecure right now, but there are some areas that are prone to these insecurities, and Kaduna is one of them. So the reports have shown that over 400 people have been abducted for ransom, with many communities destroyed, and over 50,000 people displaced. So for me, if you tell me that over 50,000 people have been displaced, then I have to look at your economy. Because the young people who are supposed to be working, you understand, they are now forming groups to fight these terrorists, or they are fleeing the city or the town. So who is going to work in the community in Kaduna? So we can see the effect on population, like you said. Then we see effect on agriculture. We see effect on unemployment. So it's affecting the economy of Kaduna, and then it has a ripple effect on the economy of Nigeria.
Of the states around.
Yes, the states around it and Nigeria in general. So it's an alarming situation, and I don't know if the government do not count the cost of what it's doing to the state and to the country economically. You know, because if you count the cost of insecurity, then you would find ways, you know,
get rid of it.
Curbing it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let me bring in our guest. Joaquin is a communication and geopolitical risk professional with experience in both the public and private sector. He has advised political campaigns and private sector players on various aspects of Nigeria's political, policy and economic climate. And he's joined us live in studio. Thank you so much, Joachim, for coming.
Thank you for having me.
You know, it's an interesting conversation, very, very sad. I feel so sad because, I mean, Kaduna State is supposed to be one of the states where you go to that this was so much commerce. You know, there was so much activity, you know, and it just seems like there is a specific target to say this state must crumble, because why are we having all this incessant attack on Kaduna State? Why?
So I think that there are many answers to the problem. There are many answers to this question. For the first, should I say 10 years, maybe like 5, 6, 7 years, the focus was on the Northeast. So it was Boko Haram and then the Chibok girls and so on.
Yeah.
But while that was happening, we then forgot that the Northwest was going to become a problem as well. And one of the main reasons, so if you look at it from the broadest possible context, the main problem is an economic problem. You have a large number of young people who don't have anything to do, they don't have any prospects for the future. And when you then combine that with things like extremist ideology and then the proliferation of small arms and light weapons that have come in from places like the Ivory Coast and Libya after the fall of Gaddafi in 2010, due to Nigeria's porous borders, very porous borders, you then have what is more or less a perfect storm. A perfect storm of weapons in the hands of young people who have nothing to do and nothing to look forward to. And when you combine that now with grand corruption from Nigeria's political class, people who feel like by arming these young people to do their bidding in one way or the other, they can advance themselves politically, and also by being in bed with some of these people who promote extremist ideologies. You have what is a real perfect storm, and right now the Northwest and the Northeast are right in the middle of it, and it's gradually coming down south. Again, because of the fact that the weapons are many, the borders are porous, the people who are supposed to man the borders are not enough, and those who do, are now too corrupt to prevent the flow of these weapons. So you then have this toxic mix, and Nigeria is right in the middle of it, and that is the brunt that Kaduna is bearing today. Kaduna is what Borno was in 2014, essentially.
Okay, so when we look at, you said something about porous borders.
Yes.
Okay, that's very disturbing, by the way. But right now we know that we have that porous border there. What are we doing about it?
So I think that the issue of porous borders, part of the issue is manpower. There are simply not enough people to man the various border crossings, because actually Nigeria's border crossings are about 1,000 plus, 1,400 or so. And only a couple of hundred or so.
14,000 across.
No, 1,400.
1,400 borders.
Yes, across
Nigeria. Yeah, but that's a lot. But we're talking about like this region now.
Yes.
So like how many borders do we have there?
So you have a border. So if you look at Nigeria's western side, you have Benin Republic, bordering up here. Then when you go higher up, you have Chad, you have Niger, where you have Cameroon. Cameroon is up there to the top right? So you all of those, and then you have Benin Republic, Chad, and then you have, I think, Burkina Faso, Mali, and all of this. So that Sahel region is a highly unstable region. That Sahel region is, and also Nigeria is bearing part of the brunt of the issues with the Sahel, because the Sahel extends into Nigeria. And the insecurity in the Sahel, particularly since 2010 and the fall of Gaddafi, 2011, that instability has come into Nigeria as well. And our government has been unable to see the problem coming, and has been unable to also stop the problem from becoming what it's been up to now.
They're unable to see it.
Yes, because so what happened in Libya was pretty significant, because the extremist ideology in Nigeria was always there. The unemployment problem was always there. But when you add to that proliferation of small arms, it then compounded the problem because now you have people with the weapons to do damage. So the issues with herdsmen and farmers have also always been there, but they did not have the weapons at the scale necessary to cause the damage that they are currently causing. And that has been the main difference. So minus the weapons coming in from outside, there are also local manufacturers of these weapons as well. In some states, in some cities, sorry, you have those people manufacturing those weapons, and they are allowed to sell those weapons more or less freely by paying off one person or the other, and also they're also giving cover by various political elements as well. So you have that production, that local production, and then the weapons coming in from outside. And then when you combine that together, you just have a country that is teeming with small arms and young people really begging to use them.
Sorry, why are we not using technology, to police this place?
So the problem with technology is technology in some ways can be like putting can be like putting plaster on a gash, because in deploying technology, you need to have people with the
expertise
to use it.
Yeah, but we can train them.
I'm coming. So first there's a procurement of this technology. Now this procurement should be done. Let me explain to you the chains and why there's a problem. So the procurement of this technology has to be done above board, so that you get these things at the best possible price and the best possible quality. So that's the first thing. When you procure these weapons, or whatever technology it is, you then have to train people to use those technologies, and then the information you get as a result now needs to be acted on. Those are the three main steps. Now, if you have that information and you don't act on it, it's the same thing as not having technology at all.
We make little things look like big things. This is not, when a bank is opening up, what they do is they deploy this technology. They have manpower, they rely on technology, they train them. These things are normal. They are very quick. You have people who can help you to assemble all these things together. So you're saying it like it's some hard work.
It's not supposed to be hard work. Let me tell you a related story. A couple of decades ago, there was this company that sent out communication equipment to various countries in the world. Now that equipment that was sent out with exploits. So once you use the technology, so once you power it on, you are able to see and hear what the other people are seeing and hearing. So it was like a spying device. It had all of these various loopholes that people can exploit. What happened in Nigeria's case was what they sent to Nigeria was never used. They just put it off and put it somewhere. They just found out that they sent it, it was never used. It was just lying there. So whatever information they wanted to get, they couldn't even spy on Nigeria because it was not even used in the first place. So for example, why the company registration in CAC does not work any longer is for the same reason. Technology cannot go around culture. Culture is the main thing. And right now, Nigeria's culture is toxic, and that's the problem. Not technology.
Okay, so I was going to ask again that why Kaduna State? What exactly is Kaduna State? How strategic is Kaduna State in all of this? You mentioned Borno, that Kaduna State is what Borno was in 2014. Right, so why exactly is this attack on Kaduna State? Can we break that down to understand?
So one of the main problems with Kaduna State is that Kaduna has always been has historically been a multicultural, multi-ethnic state. It has, and apart from the fact that large parts of the north have significant minority populations, Kaduna has historically had these minority populations. But the problem in Kaduna State is that many of these minority populations are being attacked on a very regular basis.
Yeah.
Now, those attacks have not been stopped by the government. And those attacks are carried out by with weapons, rather. weapons gotten from both inside the country and outside the
So
country.
why can't they arm the small communities? The
That-
government.
that has-
if they don't
that
have
has
enough
come-
manpower to man the borders, why don't they arm the communities?
That has actually come up. You have had some government officials talking about people should be able to arm themselves, and in order to,
Shehu Sani.
and so on, and so on. So I think it's even the third major person who has said that maybe you should just give them guns to help themselves, since the government has not been able to do so. But as usual, it goes around the main problem. The main problem is that, you see, the security of lives and property shall be the primary purpose of government. That's why we give up our rights to bear arms to the government to deal with. Going back to that will only end up creating more problems than it solves
Which is what
eventually,
we
because
even
you're going to
said
have
yesterday.
militias.
Yes.
So what you have in a place like Sudan, Sudan and other places, is you just have militias roving around.
But you've not answered me why
Carrying
Kaduna.
out-
But you know what? Let's take a break. We'll just take a very short break. Because I really want to understand what is it that
In
is about
Kaduna.
in Kaduna State, Because I hear, okay, we have the military base there. That's the NMA school. What else? The Air
You
Force
have
school.
bases.
Yes, all the military.
You have about 12 separate military installations in Kaduna
Do
State.
you understand? So what exactly, what are they targeting? But let's take a break. When we come back from the break, we'll continue the conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, so if you just tuned in, we are having an amazing chat with Joachim on the economic impact of insecurity in Kaduna State. Please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. You can also tweet at us at PlusTvAfrica1 with the hashtag WasteShow. Okay, so I'm just wondering, what exactly is the situation? So with the issue when you talked about defending yourself, I remember that the period while I was growing up and they had the constant Sharia crisis, I think it was from 1999, if I'm correct, right, where we had the Zango Kataf. I think Zango Kataf, there was Zango Kataf, then there was Sharia crisis back to back. I mean, first of all, the swiftness of military intervention, whenever there was any uproar,
Yes,
immediately the president then, Obasanjo, would declare state of emergency, deploy military all over the place.
And it worked.
Of course, immediately it was under within 24 hours it curbed, and all of that. I'm not seeing the impact of a head of state that's supposed to be a former military man, taking effect. I mean, curbing this insecurity effectively. I don't see that happening. But okay, back to my question about the states. What are they targeting, right? What's it called? Weakening the economy of the state. What exactly is the target? Can you help me break that down?
So it's what you typically have is that you have various groups who are heavily armed, and because they have these arms, they know that they can do kidnapping, banditry, and so on. So with the trains that you spoke about earlier at the top of your show, they know that they have the arms necessary to attack these trains and take people of them for kidnap and so on. Even though those trains themselves also have people who are also supposed to defend them. But even they are not sufficiently armed enough to do that. So that's also a problem, right? So what you then have is that train between Kaduna and Abuja is a very tasty target, because you have people who are a bit well-to-do and are moving between both cities for work, to see family, and so on and so forth. And it presents them with many good targets for that, and they are armed enough to do that. Now, unfortunately, like Uwa said, when talking about deploying military and so on and so forth, the military is currently overstretched. They are occupied in various states of the country, and they are not now able to respond as effectively as they might under normal circumstances. So normal circumstances when they are not engaged in 30, 31, 32 states of the country in various operations. Because even in places like Zamfara, another part of the Northwest in particular, and the Northeast, you have various military operations designed to maintain law and order where there's been a complete breakdown. So in a place like Zamfara, for example, the constant clashes between headsmen and farmers, and also the issues with the various groups who want to corner mineral resources for one reason or the other. In the northeast, of course, there's always Boko Haram, and the various armed groups that are now also doing that there.
Yeah.
In the north central, again, is the same thing. Headsmen and farmers, you want to keep them away from each other. You want to ensure that there's peace and security, and the military is involved in many of those states. Now, because they are doing that, and because the ability of the police over time to properly ensure safety of lives and property has been degraded under the military, and that degradation has continued up to this present day. And so they are also not able to do what their primary job was supposed to have been.
But the military can, right? It's
The
just
military
that
are
they're
in a better position to, but they are
Okay,
overstretched.
So is it possible, are they recruiting? Is it possible to start arranging recruitment so that they have more people, manpower to fight? Since the government says that technology is so hard to use.
There is in fact a military recruitment going on right now for the Nigerian Army.
Okay.
Right now, it started on March 24, about a week ago or so, and it's continuing into May. I think it's into May. But the issue with that is, on the military and the police side, you need to have their welfare taken care of.
And you have to have
their death benefits, that synergy, and all of those things. And again, the culture of these security agencies also needs to be fixed.
So do you see investors pulling out of Kaduna State if this continues? Because I mean,
if they've not pulled out already,
airlines are announcing indefinite, whatever. I mean, I'm sure companies would reduce capacity of production by maybe 50 or 40% just to just keep it going. So how do you see this impacting?
The impact is going to be fairly severe. As we see in any war zone, economic activity really goes all the way down. We know about the war in Europe, Russia and Ukraine and so on. The prosperity that Europe has been able to build over the last 75 years has been because they have they were able to finally stop all their various wars. Europe for about 300 years was a theater of continuous war, and as such couldn't have that prosperity. The same thing is happening in any war zone and in any place, even in a so-called low-level conflict. There's not an outright war, right? When you have high levels of insecurity, economics definitely suffers. Kaduna to Abuja is the way Lagos to Ibadan is. Even the distances are even similar.
Or Lagos, Ogun State, yeah.
Or something like that. So the distances are even similar. So normally it would be a place where people can live in Kaduna and work in Abuja and so on and so forth. But now that is under serious threat because the highways are not safe, number one. The airport is not safe, number two. And now the train is not safe.
Yeah.
So you have all of these things happening at the same time.
We're looking for solutions, but what I hear you say is when we talk about the solution also has baby problems. So
Yes.
we talk about the military being the way out of it, but you say there's a problem with the military because they're not enough, they're overstretched.
Yes.
We talk about technology, there's a problem with the technology, it might be too hard, so the government is not even interested, or even they buy it, they will not even use it.
It's a cultural
so
thing.
we keep talking
It's a
about
cultural
different solutions to this problem that we've talked about, but all these solutions have their own problems. So what's the way out?
So in terms of solutions, so let me just profile a solution for you. I think that this administration one of the planks on which they were elected was security, economy, and corruption, right? And interestingly, you can see elements of all three in this particular Kaduna issue. Because without a good anti-corruption drive, your efforts at addressing insecurity with regard to what you need to buy to address it, even in technological solutions, need to be addressed. But they cannot be addressed without making sure that the funds appropriated are used to procure that technology, and that technology is also used, and the information gotten thereof, very important, is also applied in a timely manner to stop these people. you talked about Governor Rufai saying that that they know where the bandits,
camps are.
where the camps are. They have their maps and so on and so forth. So they have all this information. And why have they not acted on it? There you go. So it doesn't matter how much technology you buy. It doesn't matter how much information you get.
Because they already have the answers, but they just don't want to do
exactly.
it.
So it is the same thing as not even having it at all.
But do you think I don't think they don't want to do it, because I cannot see somebody destroy everything that I've built and I'll just watch the person destroy it. Oh, wow. But let me take some comments. I think we have some comments. This person, you didn't put your name. It says the surprising thing about Kaduna is that it has grown its revenue by 100% from 3 billion per year to 50 billion as of today. By the end of the year, Kaduna will open the largest steel mill in West Africa.
Wow.
The governor is doing well. Kaduna is the center of the north and the second largest economy in the north. You know, I would agree with the fact that the governor is doing exceptionally well, because I went to Kaduna in December to see my parents, and even though against their counsel, I grabbed one of my friends that took me around the entire Kaduna district. You know, I drove around Kaduna and I saw so much development that has happened compared to when, of course, I know they feel like that, you know. So I'd seen that so much development. So I was now saying that how come Kaduna is always in the bad, like in the press, it's always negative. We project so much negativity around the state, but there are so many things that the governor has done in that state. First of all, just to put it out there, Governor Rufai, you need to invest in publicity, because he's doing so much, but what we keep on hearing is banditry. We are hearing this, we're hearing attacks, and that already would push away any investor that wants to go into that state to say they want to do anything. But if somebody is coming to say that they have generated 100% of the revenue, does it not tell you that there's something more that these people are targeting?
So I think that when you have a scenario where there is mass death, it's not normal. It's not normal. One of the abiding achievements of our current of the world as it is right now is really the reduction in mass death. So when you hear things like 50 people dying at once, 70 people dying at once, people are shocked because they don't hear such things any longer. I mean, so like before, it used to happen a lot before, right? But when you hear 50 people, 70 people, 100 people killed, it's not supposed to be normal. This today, it's easier. So if you take the whole global population, it's easier for you to die of obesity than it is for you to die of causes due to war.
Yeah.
That is how far human progress has come. That is why it should alarm anybody that dozens of people can die at any point in time, anywhere in the world. It should cause outrage. It should cause people to ask, what is really going on? I mean, in the US, anytime someone carries a gun, as they normally do, they kill 4, 5, 6 people. It's news, because you don't hear such things. It's not a war, and even the wars. See the reaction to Russia's invasion, for example. It's been so swift because they're like, you are taking us back to before 1945. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to. I mean, nobody wants to hear such things, and that's why the insecurity in Kaduna State and across the north has to be stopped, because you cannot have people bringing in those funds and bringing in those investments when you have mass death still within your borders. We should not normalize it. People were going. I just saw it. Someone I follow, whose mother unfortunately was in the train. She just posted a picture of the bullet that was brought out of her mother's leg or something. You know, these things should cause outrage and cause us to ask questions. When the transport minister went to the site, he was talking about how there was supposed to be surveillance of the area and so on and so forth, and that was blocked, and the person that the company that put out for it and so on was blocked and so on. And it now happens that apparently there is a back and forth between the Minister of Transportation and the National Security Advisor. And they said that they couldn't give the contract because the company that was supposed to be the preferred bidder apparently doesn't seem to have the necessary expertise to execute that kind of contract? These are the kind of questions that we should be asking. Why was that contract approved? And if the NSA did not deem it, did not feel that the company could do it, why not give it to somebody else who can? So that we can survey that area and other areas.
Let's take more comments.
Okay, I've not even checked for comment, but I want to say something. We've talked about the problem. We've talked about possible solutions. There's a victim that was on the train. What she said is they were very young boys. She saw their attackers, they were very young. So what it means is, like you said, these are people that are coming into Nigeria. Some of them are part of us in Nigeria. Some are coming in through the borders, right? So, you know, if you look at other countries, they have ways that they help, you know, their immigrants or, you know, these people migrating to their country.
Yes.
So why can't the government, since we don't have technology, since we don't have manpower, why don't the government try to create, you know, little jobs for these people to do? Because they are young boys, like you said, they have guns. I don't have money, but I have a gun. So I'm going to feed myself by hook or crook.
Precisely.
So why can't we think outside the box? We can't even think.
But when they told them to come and relinquish their arms, the repentant Boko Haram,
Some of
whatever,
them came out.
there was an outrage where we said that why would you, do that?
Let me just step in there about the amnesty and so on. You see, the Kaduna State Governor said again, for this, I think for the second or third time, that when they did that amnesty in his state, he has now come back to say that he was deceived by them, because when they did the arms and they did the amnesty and so on and they submitted their arms, they soon enough went back to what they were doing. That is, they got more arms and went back out. So I think
did they engage them in that time?
They were engaged.
They were engaged.
Yes.
So I think that there is something that we need to understand here. First of all, we don't even know how many people there are in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Nigeria has had one census in its entire history that they can call a valid census. That was the 2006 census. The 1962 census was not adopted because people felt, it was not representative of the country's population. 63 census was something similar. We have had one census in Nigeria's history, a valid census, 2006. None since then, none in 16 years. Now, a census will do many things. One of the things it will do is that it will tell you who is where people are settling, and where you need to target your various attempts at ensuring that people have a better life. But even that most basic foundation, we don't even have it. And this is on top of the fact, of course, that the various interventions that the government has tried to do, on what basis is it founded precisely? If you don't know how many Nigerians there are, how then do you target your interventions in a way that's going to make sense? And then, like she said, absorb some of these immigrants that come from Chad or Niger or wherever.
Absorb their abuse, you send them back. You know what? Let me take comments. Good evening, ladies. But look for your comment, please. Your guest should hit the nail on the head. The problem is lack of birth control in the north, which has led to insecurity. However, they lack modern education but preferred Islamic education, which has caused an increase in Almajiris on the road. The Almajiris have migrated to the west now, and a lot in Lagos, becoming beggars in Lagos, who have a long way dealing with this. We have a long way dealing with this predicament. Politicians imported more into the country from Niger Republic, etc., into the country before the last elections to vote for the ruling party, and left them loose after gaining their political aims. This is from Ade in the UK. Thank you, Ade. Mani, your comments.
Okay,
quickly.
so I have one from Daniel Ilo. So he says, good evening, my dear beautiful sisters of What Are You Saying? This particular show tonight has made my day. If it is true that the Kaduna state government have decided to bomb the camp of the bandits, then this sounds like music to my ears. Now I can beat my chest that the Nigerian government is working without any shadow of doubt. But it should not only be Kaduna state government but it should go round other states too. I hope this is the beginning of great things to happen in Nigeria. God will help us to tackle and overcome these unknown gunmen and banditry in our great country and nation, Nigeria. Security is our main challenge in Nigeria, and I pray they attend to it ASAP. My name is Daniel Ilo, Ways regular fan. Thank you, Daniel. Yeah, then we have Kaduna, the liberal state. The KD I used to know in the 80s was once a lively state that even the foreigners enjoy the state. KD has had almost every security base in the country based here. NDA, DICON, CSC, Jaji, military school, Zaria, to name a few. True. We normally stay at the famous Hamdallah Hotel whenever we go for Rothman's Groove show way back. Our leaders have failed us, and the present government of KD are not helping matters. The issues are many. God save us all. Bobby Kennedy, Jalingo, Taraba State.
So, Joachim, we have like a minute to go.
Yeah.
What would you say if you were put in front of El-Rufai? You know, how would you probably give him counsel on this, tackling this insecurity in his state?
Well, if they have intelligence that is solid, that is good,
Yes.
obviously the time to act is now.
Yes.
Right? So there's no other time. I'm not really sure why he decided to go public with the information.
God bless you. I was going to say
Instead
that.
of just acting, because I know that he's pretty influential. And so I'm not sure, I'm not really sure what's happening here. Maybe he's putting someone on notice. But if you have that kind of intelligence about where these people are, I think that I'm not sure that the press is the best place.
You
to
just
come.
wake up overnight and hear that
And
they had bombed five times.
Precisely. So can you imagine if Obama had come in 2013 to say, oh, we know where Osama bin Laden is hiding. He just got up at 2 a.m. and said, you know, we have done a successful operation to do ABC. And this is what we should be hearing from the Nigerian government. I don't think that an influential governor like El-Rufai should come to the press and talk about how he knows where A, B, or C is, instead of getting the requisite resources to simply act.
He doesn't really know.
There are a number of possibilities.
But you see, a lot of people have come out to claim that they know where these people are. So I want to believe that they truly know where they are.
So if they know and they're saying it, then like you said, they are trying to put them on notice.
Handicapped. That's what I'm saying. It seems that they are handicapped as to dealing with them decisively.
It shouldn't be that hard to even find out, because they also rely on an infrastructure. Terrorists eat, they go to the toilet, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
They do all of those things. So there are those various supply chains. So at any point in that chain, that is also a potential. It's a potential source of information.
It's very easy.
On that note, I think we have we've run out of time. But thank you so much. We had a fantastic conversation. We are hoping that Kaduna State will rise above this, because it's actually painful. I mean, I can't go to the state with my 2 eyes closed. Thank you so much, Manny. We had a fantastic conversation. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
All right, so before we go, do ensure you follow us on Instagrams at PlusTvAfrica. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and more importantly, follow all our engagements online, like, share, and invite your families and friends to watch and follow the conversation. Our heart goes out to everyone that is dealing with something, you know, that has been affected by the Kaduna, the recent, insecurity challenges that Kaduna is facing, and we hope that we find a solution to this. If you missed today's quote, here it is again. There's no such thing as perfect security, only varying levels of insecurity. So the truth is that nowhere is really secure, but we just find a way, you know, to make it worth our while. We'll see you guys live on Monday as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.
Bye, Sophie.